Sup? We're back with the more Great Ace Attorney 2, Resolve. Now let's resolve ourselves to try to get through this investigation, I guess. I don't know, that was a bad segue. Anyways, let's talk to Miss Olive Green, shall we? About the incident. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. It was so cold that day and the fog was so thick. I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? While I've been here in hospital, I mean. Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes. Can you get out of here? No. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case. Wow, we're actually being defended by Susato? Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry, I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me. Oh no! We're all so relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue and not Green. You have a lot of good one-liners in the books, don't you, Ryunosuke? As if it needed to take me this long to find out. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really. At the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts? Great Britain is such a wonderful country. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. I see. How very interesting. Oh no, is it? Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here. And the Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means. Including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means? I suppose Hosuki-san does fit the bill. Look at that man. Look at that entire lad in that portrait there. Struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all. Well, she must have had a reason. What's this? She suddenly clammed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs. Oh dear me, do forgive me. Good old Sholmes. If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh, yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Oh, God. Okay. God, what type of... Did I use Kermit voice for... Nah. Is there a Mr. Narrow Fodder here? Mr. Narrow Fodder? Narrow Fodder now? I mean... I can't even think of a joke for that one. Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but you're kind of far off the mark there, buddy. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, good. This is for you. It's a message from a saucy nutsmeg. Mr. Natsume sent a message to me? How could you discern what that dude was trying to say to you, bro? From a Mr. Saucy Nutsmeg. And you got Natsume from that. Good lord. But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Exactly. What's going on? Murder number 2. What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? Oh, what are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh. Well, this is most unexpected. The Dragon Scroll. It's empty. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note? No, how could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once. Murder? Call a cab. Time is of the essence. Doom. But the trouble is... We've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient. Convenient? What do you mean? What do you mean? It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. I'm trying to make my voice for Susato match the voice actress in the cutscenes, but I don't know, maybe I should just stick with what I already got. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what? There's a freaking murder at his place? How come we didn't know about this until this game? I'll hail a fiacre at once. Fiacre? 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 It was only yesterday that Sosuke-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. Wouldn't that just make him an even more unluckiest man? The unluckiest? Anyways, February 21st, 7:18 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor. Ground floor, huh? That is a dead dude. What on earth? Wait a second. We've seen this dude. Frickin'... We saw him in the last game. Fuck, when was it? It was during Case 4, wasn't it? We saw this man... I think he was a dude. I don't remember. I think they were a dude, I mean. Yeah, frick. It was... We saw them for like one single scene, I think. And they really stood out. They had... I remember this outfit and various other things. They were with someone else that had like a real big cleft chin or something. Like a really big underbite. Oh, damn. I remember giving this dude like some frickin' Romeo and Juliet ass sounding. I gave him like a really jester-ish type of voice, but I guess it doesn't matter since the dude's frickin' dead. What on earth? I think I already said that. Oh my, the gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Mr. Natsume. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just gotten out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle. I see you on high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Ah, not the horrible hairlock, Sholmes. I like how both of them fail at each other's names. Shoo! Shove off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you! Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume. Doubtful. One sec. Sorry, I had a bit of heartburn there. I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? For you. Oh, hi, me. Hi, Gregson. Here they are already. The busybodies. Oh, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heart... Wait, what? What? I swear I haven't seen this before, what? Literally, like, 2 fucking lines ago, I just said that I had heartburn. What the shit? Dude, he literally is me. Not only does he have the same first name, but he also has heartburn. My man. Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. I was not expecting... God damn it. I have some real good coincidental timing on stuff, apparently. Huh. I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Is that why I have heartburn? Actually, no, I don't eat much fried food. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or good morning to you, Sunshine. Dum bum lum bum bum ba lum dum dum lum dum 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 lum dum dum la da da da. Sorry. I just love this song so much. Probably one of my favorites in the game, I would say. What's this over here? This instantly catches my eye, whatever this is. Oh, I said hands off, you're gonna mess up my crap. Oh, right. Oh, no, I just wanted to... Look, that's all. No chance, I know you're kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. Someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? I would say there's more like no air, considering that the frickin' window's blocked off. Granted, it's winter. Alright, it sounds like I better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor. Okay, but what if I say no and talk to Soseki? What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. So the victim lived here on the ground floor and your room is just 1 story up, right? Is that how it's spelled? Store with a Y at the end? Huh. I guess that makes sense. I've just never seen it typed out before. Or maybe I did in the first game, but I just forgot. Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So did you know the victim? Were you friends? Music goes quiet. Procedurally lowering the volume of my voice. Shifty eyes. I'm gonna say that he does. It's like I've talking to Soseki whenever he just goes into ellipses mode is just like charades. What's the matter with Soseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? Never! On my honor, I swear it! What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Nara? You never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there! Alright, fine, let's get you out of the way, my friend. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. William Shams... You're fucking with me. William Shamspeare. Oh, man. That was an extreme delayed reaction on my part. I had to process that one. What the... This entire series never fails with names, I swear. William Shamspear. What a fucking name. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a dead loss as it happens. Or just dead. You know, that's the type of joke I would make. You really are me. Mr. Shamspear. God, I am not going to be able to take that name seriously. It was the landlord, old Mr. Garrett, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fellow didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garrett got word and kicked the door down. How does he kick a door down? He doesn't even have proper legs. But doesn't Mr. Garrett have a bad leg? Exactly. Why am I... Okay, apparently I am a fusion of Gregson and Ryunosuke. I don't even want to know what that looks like. Oh yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. I'm surprised that Natsume can kick in a door, considering what he's wearing. Really? Soseki-san? The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. Petty crimes for petty dimes. Done dirt cheap. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. Hey, it's me! His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Huh. Miserable life and a miserable end to it. Well, shit. Hope I don't end up like him. So what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter. And there we fucking go. We're defending him literally a day or two after. Good lord. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear, Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. Oh, okay, he hasn't been arrested yet, though. So if we can clear things up here, then maybe he won't be under... Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man, how unfortunate. His entire life is unfortunate. Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think that the fellow's been a goner that long. The body's still warm. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I would bring myself to touch a dead body. Yo, true? Okay, well, we talked to them. I've examined stuff in here. Oh. What the hell are you doing? This man never fails to impress me in some ways. Like, look at this dude. Look at this entire lad over there. Good lord. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
Ha! You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally.
There's nothing natural about that pose. Bum 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 dun 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 dun. Oh, I expected the music to kick in. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in this room for 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened.
Oh, great. My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I managed to draw two incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life.
I wasn't expecting that close-up. Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow?
No, don't mind me. Forget I was here.
Oh my god. Oh my god, look at how much he's twitching. I don't think we've seen him do this pose with such excessive twitching. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. Nonsense! Ah! Oh my god, look at him. Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant. Impossible to ignore. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. But of course. Let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. The game is afoot. Dum ba bum ba lam ba bum bum ba bum ba lam ba bum dum dum. It's time to figure out the cause of death now. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining table which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is the soap set so purposely upon the dish? Like the victim's Last Supper, in fact. Yes. I thought this dude was William Shakespeare, not Jesus. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. Sasuke's just like, oh, Sasuke's like, you see this shit? It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Bruh. The struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though personally I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. Great to know. Great to know that Sholmes enjoys wax play. Topic 2. Suicide or murder? The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's Last Supper. Did the man dine and dine alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. A careful criminal could have abandoned with his own... I can't even read this line because of Soseki. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Look at this man. Someone has to have made a frickin' gif of this face. There has to be one out there. Like, you're telling me that this wouldn't make a perfect gif of him just twitching constantly? You could easily do a perfect loop of that. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. What, you mean the broken lock from when they busted in here? Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. alone with his inferior soap from whence wafted an inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. You know, if there was someone else here with him, that makes me think, actually. Shit, what was I about to just say? Ah, damn it, it was on the tip of my tongue and now I've forgotten it. Ah, well. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter. Oh, I remember what it was. So, they talked about how the door got kicked in by Garudub and Natsume, right? Well, Garudub has a bad leg, so I doubt that he could kick open a door. And Natsume, I don't really think is the strongest dude on the block, to say the least. So I feel like there must have been someone else, and maybe the door was already kicked open, so Natsume barely had to touch it with his foot to open it. I don't know. Or maybe he just touched it and it just opened. Conclusion: no possible perpetrator present. Somehow I doubt that. Here we go. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' Great Deduction. And scene. Wow, that was a heaping pile of bullshit that he just spewed, wasn't it? Yep, it sure was. Yeah. No, I'm with Gregson. There's just... Oh, sorry. There's this one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identify just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think that man would have eaten soap? It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. How extraordinary. In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past. Of course you have. I would be surprised if someone of your stature didn't. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilled the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. That just makes me think of frickin' Giorno Giovanna just rolling on the ground in pain after that one episode. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. 0 out of 10. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it, even if you did. Something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh? What's that? It's Mr. Natsume. Yeah, I would say so. I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow. Nonsense. Wow. Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Back to this, huh? Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are something a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it into an obtuse angle. Drive it in at an obtuse angle. Speaking of obtuse, I think this is the first time we've seen him at a frickin'... Usually when he does this pose, he, like, faces the camera rather than doing this. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Huh. The frickin' side-eye from Susato. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quiet, brilliant deductions. And discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Time for the redux. Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes's Logic and Reason Spectacular, Act 1. Act 1.5. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Onwards to the cause of death. Skipping all the dialogue so that we can get back to the stuff that we need to look at right now. So Sigil looking at the frickin' camera. Well, you can't deny that a fork implies a man was eating something, or about to eat something. Yes, that's true. Though it looks like there's... I don't know, that soap looks like it's in a very weird shape. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than to attempt it with chopsticks. And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate. But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate the soap. Good question. Is that his hat? Other piece of... Okay, so it was just split in half, it looks like. Well, it looks like there's 3 things we can look at here. You know I gotta do the meme. I'm physically incapable of doing anything besides memes. Fork. What purpose does a fork serve? It's an implement for eating. And what do people eat? Whatever is on their plates. In other words, it couldn't be clearer. The victim was eating this bar of soap with a fork in his hand. Mr. Noriharu, with that answer, you haven't righted my reasoning in any way. Oh, they actually changed this dialogue in between games. Oh, yes, that's true. As a logician, you will never surpass me. The science of deduction and analysis requires long and patient study. I'm several steps ahead of you, and your attempts to correct me serve only to highlight your deficiencies. This is what you get for agreeing with someone. I need to reconsider my answer, then. Okay. Some soap on a plate and a fork in hand. Even so, surely you wouldn't try to eat soap no matter how hungry you were. That's what we must determine. Was the victim eating soap when he died or not? I'm gonna save... Get out of here. Case 5 of last game. We don't need you. Until we can establish that with some certainty, we shan't talk about a slippery problem. Anyways. I think we know what the actual answer is here, so let's do the teacup, see what funny stuff we get. So I just realized there's a freaking, like, uprooted board there. This clearly isn't a high-class place.
Take that!
Teacup! Yatta! Here we have an empty teacup within arm's reach of the victim. Ding! Clearly, if poison was the cause of death, the possibility that it was administered in his drink can't be overlooked. My dear fellow, possibilities are endless. The question we are currently pondering is whether or not this vivacious-looking victim ate the soap. Until we have established that, I suggest you keep your possibilities to yourself. Looks like I was getting ahead of myself. Interesting, that was actually a unique thing involving the soap. Vivacious might not be the most appropriate term to describe a dead man, Mr. Sholmes. Alright, skipping ahead. Alright. Now we can choose the actual answer now that we've gotten the funnies out of the way for now.
Take that!
Whoa. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Look at Ryunosuke, he's like, bruh.
Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite.
But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. Man, you can already tell in between this game and the last one that they put a lot more effort into, like, small facial changes and poses and stuff. Like, they added a lot, you know? And I appreciate it. They did great on this game.
An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For Lennon's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate.
Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument, then. Perhaps he's suggesting the man lick the soap rather than ate it. If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it? Ah, shit. I thought we were going to get one more line there. Okay, yeah, so now we've got to press the frickin' teacup, but I'm gonna do this. Let's use the same thing. It may interest you to know, Mr. Sholmes, that there is a saying in Japanese. If your food is poison, you might as well eat it, plate and all. So this is where the poison was.
It may interest you to know, Miss Naruhodo, that there was no such saying in English.
Oh.
And what flawed logic in any case? Why, if one ate poison, would one have to eat a plate as well?
Don't blame me for my country's crazy sayings. Man, this game has a lot more unique fail conversations. Like, usually it's Ryunosuke saying some funny stuff, and then Sholmes has, like, some filler text. But now he actually seems to have, so far, knock on wood, he seems to have unique conversations for every type of fail. Which I am very excited if that's the case. Because that just has me super excited for all of the Ron stuff I choose. The cause of death is poison. How did it get into the victim's body? I think it might be difficult to establish the answer conclusively at this point. But at the very least, the idea of poisoned soap should be discounted, I think. Saving again. Alright. There we go. I'm sure there's a far more likely explanation before our eyes here. Something obvious that could explain how poison passed the victim's lips. It's your butt. Oh, it was not the butt. It could be the fork. Nope. Clearly, then, it's the fork that must have been laced with poison. The victim, having terrible table manners, licked the fork all over and paid for his rudeness with his life. A theory that can be refuted in short order, I'm afraid, my dear fellow. Look at the victim's face. He wears the makeup commonly employed by those of his profession, including rouge for the lips. Yet there is no hint of rouge on the fork. Hence we can be assured that the fork never touched the man's mouth. Mr. Sholmes. That was actually brilliant. I think I need to look around some more. And look we shall, specifically at the teacup.
Take that!
Boom. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup.
Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop.
Well, not every drop. There is some still on the table. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Freaking Soseki.
Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. Here it is. The cause of death is clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup.
Poison in the tea. Cause of death. Suicide or murder. The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was it suicide or murder? Look at that. Look at those shifty eyes. Also, I really like Sholmes from this angle. I don't know. Just him looking down to the left at frickin' Shamspear over here. I don't know, I just like it. The audience will recall that the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deductions so far. Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspear was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me... It's Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. Let's save again. I am very easily going to frickin' save over all of the stuff from last game. There's more to this deduction than it seems. We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for more clues. Oh, well, there's something... Oh, he got a cup. Oh, she. He got a cup. Okay, he got one cup. Single teacup. Other teacup. Hat. We still can't present his hat. I want to present his hat. No, whatever. What else I got? Bar of soap? No. You know, fuck. Yeah, screw it. Present the fork a third time. It'll work one of these times. The only fork present in this one is the victim's... The only fork present is this one in the victim's right hand. If someone else had been present here when the victim died, there would be another fork somewhere. Which leads you to conclude there were no other persons present at the time. Precisely, Mr. Sholmes. Precisely. If that is your train of thought, my dear fellow, all you have succeeded in doing is substituting my single teacup for a single fork. Oh, yes, you're right. I'm afraid I can't permit such plagiarism. How exactly do you plagiarize a train of thought? I haven't showed all my work in. I haven't cited my work. It's crucial that we determine whether or not there was someone else present at the time of death. It will tell us if this was a murder or suicide. Yes, and while the argument that the presence of a single teacup shows he was alone is a good one, we need to make sure we look at this from all angles. Nah, I'm gonna look at it from the same angle. What about this teacup?
Take that!
Just a single glance is all it takes. You can plainly see this lone teacup lying upset on the table. The same as the victim, who died alone, having consumed the poison it contained. Mr. Naruhodo, with that answer, you haven't righted my reasoning in any way. Oh, yes, that's true. Okay, never mind. This is a generic one. Okay, well, that's a unique... So, I guess there are ones that aren't unique, but a lot of them are, which I appreciate still. I want to see what happens if we get a game over, because I don't think in the first game we ever got a game over in the field. And I'm curious. Deduction failed. I can see nothing. I like how you can go back to the Great Deduction. I can see nothing. I close my eyes, for I do not see. Oh, man. Well, I haven't seen that before, so that's something new we learned. But for now, I think we'll call it here. Next time on Great Ace Attorney 2, we'll continue and figure out if the dude really ate soap or not. Not really looking like that now, but hey, you never know. If a dude's hungry, I guess. Adios, ciao, and bye-bye. Signing off until next time. Ciao, matane.